Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining. We still have a few more minutes before 6 o'clock. So we're going to give some folks a little bit of time to join. And then we'll get started answering your questions. So if you want to put in the chat where you're from or what you're studying, that would be fun. And let me get to know you a little bit more. My name is Sarah, and I work in the Office of Admissions. I have my trusty team behind the scenes as some of our moderators. So if they would all just say something in the chat so I can upgrade you to a moderator, that would be super swell. And then we'll get this party started here in 5 or so minutes. So enjoy watching me watch the chat, and we will get started in just a few minutes. I'm super excited to get to chat with you guys tonight. You're admitted. Hooray! All of the pressure is hopefully gone. So really, really excited to share in that excitement with you because it's a really fun time, even though you're all probably barely hanging on in that second semester grind. There's Megan. Add moderator. Perfect. And we'll wait for everybody else to pop on here. But oh, there's Dan. Hi, Dan. Add moderator. Oh, I don't know if it did that for Megan. So nope, she's good. Cool. And there is Fernando. Cool. So they're all behind the scenes. Christine and Caitlin are there as well. If you've joined us for any of our chats, you know them, or have got to chat with them in the chat box. Lots of chats going on there. There she is. There's Christine. So super grateful for their help behind the scenes. They will be answering some questions in the chat tonight because we're anticipating that there are going to be quite a few folks here with questions. So as I try to keep up with the questions you sent in, they will be answering as many questions in the chat as they can, just so we can make sure that everyone gets their questions answered tonight. We've got a few more minutes, so you still get to chat with me and listen to me fill some time before we kick this thing off. Somebody's here from Maryland. I saw a Tennessee person. Oh, hey, Sarah. Thank you that's very nice of you. There are hopefully some parents from the newly admitted family Facebook group who are joining us as well. So hello, you get to put a face with a name, which is nice, always nice. I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you pretty well through that. Alaska, oh my gosh, we're complaining about the cold here. How cold is it in Alaska? I hope the chat doesn't go too crazy so I can see. New Jersey, California, send some of that sun our way. Connecticut, Arizona, Samuel's parents, Mexico, Georgia. Oh my gosh, you guys are all over the place, which is wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Another Tennessee. If you live in Memphis, my brother's on their fire department keeping you safe. So what's up to my Tennessee people? We've got a few more minutes and then we'll start the official program instead of just me reciting the states that you're from. Virginia, Puerto Rico, Illinois, but not Chicago. Hey, that's important to designate. There's Palatine. Somebody wants to know where Purdue is. We are in West Lafayette, Indiana. We're an hour north of Indianapolis and an hour and a half south of Chicago-ish. Hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on how fast you drive and what part of Chicago you're in. But right smack dab in the middle of those two major cities. Hello from Chicago, sunny Southern California. Rub it in, just rub it in. It's so cold right now that when my dog goes outside, there's snow out on the ground and her little paws don't even sink into the snow. It's so cold. So keep that sun, enjoy it because it's not so warm in the Midwest right now. But we'll go ahead and get started. It's a few minutes early according to my computer, but we'll dive in and then folks can catch up as we move forward. So again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Sarah and I work in the Office of Admissions. I can't wait to talk about admitted student things. It's a super exciting time. First of all, congratulations. That's not to go without being said. It was a really competitive year for admission, and you guys should be so proud of yourselves, whether you were admitted to your first choice or your second choice, and we can talk about that later. It was a really, really tough year in terms of the applicants that we had, and you guys should all be applauded. So well done, kudos, congratulations, bravo, boiler up. We're just so excited to have you aboard. So if we don't get to your question tonight, please, please, please send us an email to admissions@purdue.edu. You can also write us on Twitter at Purdue Admission. You can send us a DM on Instagram. I hope my friend from Instagram is on here today. I have to tell you guys a quick story, and then we'll actually get started. I was writing someone on Instagram last night, and he said, I answered his question, and then he said, wait a second, are you Sarah from those videos? And I said, yes, that's me. So if my friend is on here, I'm sorry I didn't send you an autograph. But yes, that's me. I'll be replying to your Instagram DMs. You can also write us on Facebook, however you want to get in touch with us. Please do. If we don't answer your questions, we know that you have a lot as you're deciding where you want to go to college, and just kind of trying to wrap your head around all of these next steps that come with that really exciting acceptance letter. So if you did not watch our YouTube guide, please do. You don't have to log out right now. You won't miss anything, but there's an incredibly helpful guide on our YouTube channel that goes over these next steps that I'm going to touch on. It goes over those in a lot more depth, and you can go back and reference it later. So just make sure that you watch that either later tonight or tomorrow or whenever you have questions. All of those guides that we post are really helpful resources just for you to go back and, you hear me say something tonight and then you forget, oh, what did that admissions lady say? You can go back and reference that later. So make sure you check that out. But we hope that you watched it ahead of time, because we had quite a few students and parents and family members send in questions related to all of the next steps in our guide. That's really what tonight is about. What do you do? What do you sign up for? We'll hopefully get them all covered before this evening ends. So without further ado, I'm going to dive right in and start answering questions. If you have questions as they pop up, please let me know, and we'll get those answered. Either I will or someone in my trusty team will. And let's start answering your questions. So first things first, you need to activate your online student career account. This is your My Purdue portal, and it will be your best friend for the next 4 years. You just need to make sure it's activated so that you can get all of the information from us that you need. That's where a lot of things will be posted in terms of financial aid and just all of the things that you need to make your Purdue career happen will really start at your My Purdue portal. So make sure you get that activated. That also, your login for that is also your email address. So there are just a lot of things that come with that initial activation button process. So if you don't know how, let us know. I'm not going to walk you through the steps tonight because that would probably not be helpful for anyone. But let us know if you're having trouble getting that set up. If you've forgotten your email or you forget your password, ITAP, which is IT at Purdue. We have a lot of acronyms, so just hold on. ITAP will be your best friend. They're our best friend as staff members. They're just wonderful. So if you forget your Purdue email address, if you forget what your password is, if you have to change your password and you didn't, just contact ITAP and they would be more than happy to get you set up. So that's the scoop on activating your online student career account or your My Purdue portal. Next step, visit campus. Please, 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 please come visit us. We have admitted student events happening. I think they start in early February, so really soon. They're called Purdue's for Me. We have 7 or 8 days where we have a campus-wide info session with your academic college. You'll have info sessions from housing and financial aid, and they all just totally went out of my head. So I'm sorry for that. Orientation is there. Everyone that you probably have questions for will be there in some capacity. So it's a nice day to come. You don't have to come to Purdue's for Me, but it's a nice day to come because everyone that you might need to talk to is already there in the same rooms. If Purdue's for Me is full, or if you're super busy and you can't make it, don't worry, we can get you in touch with all of the offices that are there. But if you want to come to campus and you've got one time to visit, you want to make the most of it, you want to be efficient, Purdue's for Me is a really good day to come. It it also fills up. So make sure that you register for that sooner rather than later. I hate when students call in late March or April and they want to come to the very last one. And I'm like, what were you doing in February? So make sure that you register early. And if you register and then decide you can't come, please let us know, because that fills up space for other students. But please come to an admitted student event, come to a daily visit. We have specific daily visits for admitted students that start later in the semester. So we'd love to see you at one of those. If you've been to campus already, don't fret too much about coming. It's totally up to you. I know a lot of the parents in the parent Facebook group have been asking whether they should come, whether they should not come. It's totally up to you. I would say if you're 100% dead set on coming to Purdue, you love us, you don't have any questions, you're good to go, you don't need to come. If you're torn between a couple schools and maybe visiting one more time and talking with your academic college would be helpful, or going on a tour of one of the labs that we have on campus, if that would really help sway your decision, then maybe consider coming. If it's impossible to fit into your schedule, please, please, please don't worry about whether or not you can make it. You're not going to miss out on anything. You're not going to really lose anything by not attending. But I will tell you this, every time I sit in on a Produce For Me info session, I learn something. So if you can come, we would love to have you, but don't worry too much if you can't. So let's answer some questions related to that. Zachariah wanted to know why he should choose Purdue over another college. What really makes the Purdue experience so unique and special? This is a hard question. And I went to Purdue. I work at Purdue. I love Purdue. I bleed black and gold. But the reasons that I love Purdue might be entirely different from the reason that you might like Purdue. So it's such an individual process and question to ponder and to think about, that I can tell you that the reason I love Purdue is our alumni network. I love the pride that everyone in the university has for their mission and our mission as a land-grant school, but also to see our students succeed, to see other students succeed. My mom, I probably have said this on like every YouTube live, but my mom always says, Purdue people are really nice people. And that is honestly, that sums up why I love the university and why I would tell someone to come to Purdue. I think that Midwest niceness really resonates and creates an awesome campus culture. Obviously, undergraduate research opportunities. Division I sports. There are a million reasons, but you might not care about sports, or you might not want to do undergrad research. So it just depends on what you care about, what you want to get out of a university. And that's why we're here. When you decide about those things that matter to you, whether it's playing club sports or participating in a learning community and living with people who are in the same major as you, we're here to answer those questions and make sure that you can get out of Purdue what you want to get out of Purdue. And we have I just lost my train of thought. We have the Boilermaker Special, which is a mascot that looks like a train that drives up to about 70 miles an hour on a truck chassis. And if that's not a reason to come to Purdue, I don't know what it is. So moving on, Bruce says he got into Purdue first year engineering. Congratulations. Now why should I go to Purdue over other schools? What does a degree from Purdue mean? Again, similar to what I just talked about, the value in a Purdue degree. I think it's fun when we get to travel for our job in the Office of Admissions. And what's really cool is to go to states across the country and to say the name Purdue and say that you're with Purdue University and see people's faces kind of light up. I think that reputation that we have for a world-class education is literally, it spans across the globe. So that brand reputation and recognition really goes a long way, along with the value of a Purdue degree. I tell families all the time that it literally has not gone, the cost of going to Purdue has not gone up since I graduated as a Purdue student quite a few years ago now. We're very, very proud of the work that President Daniels is doing to make Purdue an affordable place to go to school. So with that, those are some of the reasons. Again, I can't touch on everything. It's going to look different for every student. So if you have questions, if you want to go into further discussion about, what would a Purdue degree look like for you specifically, That's why we have admissions counselors. So give us a call. We would love to have that conversation with you, and we'd be more than happy to kind of guide you in the right direction. Next step on your Purdue to-do list, which rhymes, join our Purdue Class of 2023 Facebook group. Yeah, join it. It's a wonderful community. I have another story. So I mentioned that I went to Purdue, so I'm going to tell you some alumni stories too tonight because I think it's important and helpful. Isabel actually asked in relation to the Class of 2023 group, the best way to find a roommate. Let me tell you a little story. When I was a high school senior and accepted to Purdue, I joined the Facebook group. Yes, there was Facebook back then. And I met a wonderful, wonderful girl from Texas named Ellie. She became my roommate. We had never met each other before, but we had similar interests and we liked the same things and knew that we wanted to keep a clean room and both went to bed fairly early like grandmas. And that was all we needed to know to decide that we were a pretty good match. And it worked out wonderfully. Obviously, you can tell us who you want to room with. So if you know someone from your high school, don't worry about it. But the Facebook group is still a really good place to get to know other students in your major. A lot of students this year are using it to kind of branch off into Snapchat or Instagram so you can get to know each other on different social media areas. But we would love for you to use the Facebook group just to get to know each other and to get to know a little bit about, your classmates before you come to Purdue. So join it. We would love to have you. Parents, I hope that you're on the Admitted Family Facebook group as well. It's honestly one of my favorite things that I get to do every year is get to see parents connect and get to answer all of your questions. So if you have questions either as a student or as a family member, please send those to us through Facebook. That can be a really easy way to get an answer pretty quickly. So that's the scoop on joining the Facebook group. Pretty straightforward. Let's see. Next up, take the time to learn about on-campus housing and learning communities. Kind of familiarize yourselves with those. As long as you fill out a housing contract by May 5th, you're guaranteed on-campus housing. So no rush, no pressure. It's not first come, first serve. We will guarantee you space somewhere on campus if you fill out that housing contract. You also have until that day to let us know who you want to room with. You both have to put each other's contact information down. So even though you probably want to live with Carson Edwards on the basketball team, Carson Edwards probably is not putting you down as his roommate on campus. So unfortunately, you both need to put each other's contact information down. Please do that. Don't forget. It's kind of an important piece. Let's see some questions related to that process. Susan wanted to know about rooming with your friends. And yes, Susan, that's what you do. You just put each other's contact info down on that housing contract and you will be all set. Bill wants to know if a student has a roommate choice, do they need to submit that prior to or at the time of their signing their contract? I believe so. You may be able to go back in and change it, but I don't want to tell you that and not be able to confirm it. So Bill, if you're watching, send us an email. I can confirm that for you. But I believe you need to put each other's contact info down at the same time because they start to make those housing assignments pretty quickly after that May 5th deadline so we can get them out to you midsummer. Kyle wants to know, Kyle's got two questions. One, do you have living learning communities in the dorms, residence halls, specifically for engineering students to live on the same floor? If so, how do you sign up for them? Two, what tools are there to help you find a roommate that's compatible with you? Good questions, Kyle. Number one, we do have learning communities. Those are at Purdue anyway. They're floors of our residence halls that have been designated for students with specific interests or students who are studying in particular programs. So there's a data science one in the in the College of Science, excuse me. There's one in the College of Agriculture. There is one for students in the marching band, I think. So just anything you can imagine, any areas that you can imagine, there's probably a learning community for. Some have living components, some are purely participation based. You don't have to live in the same residence hall or same floor. If you're in a learning community, you'll take some classes together. You'll do outside projects and programs together. It's a really nice way to kind of build community within your major and make campus feel really, really small right off the bat. You know, if you're in a learning community, you're going to have at least a couple classes with those students who are living right next door to you or who are your roommates. So it can be a really good opportunity to make campus campus feel a lot smaller if you're worried about coming to a campus of our size. One thing that I think is important to touch on learning communities, and then we can chat about this later, or you can contact residents, university residences for more info, is that it does have a little bit of a competition aspect to it, only because you're living with students who are in the same classes as you. So it's natural to say, hey, what did you get on that quiz? Or hey, what did you get on that test? So if you're a student who really thrives in that environment, it's going to be perfect. But I heard someone from university residences and the Learning Communities Office mention that once, and I thought it was really important to share with students. If you don't work well in that kind of competitive atmosphere, it might not be a good fit for you, which is fine. But it's just one of those options that we have for students who kind of want to build community within their major. Second question from Kyle. What tools are there to help you find a roommate that's compatible with you? If you don't want to meet a roommate through the Facebook group, or you don't know someone from your high school or your hometown who's coming, you can always fill out, we've got like a Match.com questionnaire that asks, when do you go to bed? And how messy are you? And all of those kind of basic questions that help you determine whether or not you'll be a good fit living with someone. I know a lot of people who went entirely random and have, now been bridesmaids in each other's weddings. And so, yeah, if you want to go random, it's totally cool. There aren't like mega horror stories. I kind of wish that I did, even though I love my roommate, Ellie. It would have been fun to say like, oh yeah, I went totally random and now I have lifelong friends. So that's the scoop on that. Are you able to change your meal plan at any point in the year? Excellent question. You can change your meal plan at the end of the semester. So if you want to start out on a, 15 meal a week plan, and then you decide you need more than that, you can go up. You'll obviously pay the difference, which is why they change it at the end of the semester. But you can change your meal plan if you decide that you need more or less. Someone asked also in the chat, what are dining dollars? Those are, you get a set amount. I don't know exactly how much. I want to say a couple $100s, and you can use them we've got a campus food truck. You can use them at the smoothie place in the rec center. You can use them at Starbucks in the Union, and they go real quick there. So not recommended to get in that habit, but you can use them there. You can also use them, at different kiosks and restaurants across campus where you're not swiping in to get a full meal in the dining court. So they're just a nice option to be able to use when you're on the go and you need a quick lunch or a peppermint mocha from Starbucks, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, moving on. Annie wants to know if freshmen are allowed to drive their vehicle to Purdue and keep it there. No, you can't, Annie. And that's always the bad piece of information that I have to share with admitted students. Here's the scoop on cars. It's a headache to have a car on Purdue's campus, whether you're a student or a staff member. Parking is just incredibly limited for everyone. So here's my alumni hat coming back on. Make friends with upperclassmen who have their cars. And then when it's 5 degrees outside, like it is right now, they can drop you off at your residence hall, and then they can drive their car halfway across campus and park it and walk back in the middle of the cold, icy, snowy weather. So no car. You can enter a car lottery, a parking pass lottery. I don't know how many they give out every year. It varies depending on the number of parking passes that they give to upper class students. That usually happens around fall break. So that's an option. Don't bank on it. And there was one other thing about parking. Oh, our campus bus system is wonderful. So don't even fret about not having a car. Campus is incredibly walkable. All of our students have access to our campus bus system for free with your student ID. Not only do they have loops in and around campus, they also will take you to Target and Walmart and the mall and wherever else you might need to go in Greater Lafayette. So that's an option as well. Definitely use that campus bus system. It's so nice. They have a super fancy app that will tell you when the next bus is coming and make sure you're all set to go. So that's the scoop on cars. Moving on to happier things. You need to review your financial aid package. That's the next thing that's kind of on your list of to-dos. Everybody wanted to know about scholarships, and I have news for you. We learned today that our scholarships will be released tomorrow, Friday night. Here's the scoop on scholarships, and I'm going to be pretty blunt with you guys. Merit scholarships are really hard to get at Purdue. We had, like I mentioned, an incredible applicant pool this year. Just getting into Purdue was really hard. So you should be very, very proud of yourself that you're at this point. Merit scholarships are going to be pretty difficult to come by this year. About 10% of our students total get merit scholarships. So it's just the very, very top tier of the students that we admit. And the things that go into it are the same things that go into admission. So test scores, rigor of curriculum, extracurricular activities, letters of recommendation, the whole shebang. And I won't get into a ton of detail on financial aid and scholarships because those will, that's our topic for next month. Spoiler alert. So just make sure that you watch that. But anyway, scholarships are going to be emailed out tomorrow night. If you don't get an email, it's safe to say that you weren't awarded a scholarship, a merit scholarship. They're so competitive. We can't really tell you why you didn't receive one. So calling us on Monday and asking just won't get you very far. Unfortunately, we can just tell you that the applicant pool was really competitive, and therefore that scholarship pool is just incredible. So that's the scoop. I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but just want you guys to kind of be alert and aware of what the scholarship situation is at Purdue so that we can, just be frank and honest with you and let you know that they're pretty hard to come by. However, I would check. I always tell students that scholarship hunting can really become a part-time job, but it's worth every single second you spend on it. So I would all but guarantee that your guidance counselor has some kind of list of local scholarships that are available through the Elks Club or your 4-H group. Or I don't know, when I was in high school, I wrote an essay about gardening, and I got, I think, like $500 for the Wabash Valley Garden Association, and it got put to very good use. So find those really quirky essays and applications to fill out, because every penny really does add up when it comes to scholarships. And because that merit scholarship pool isn't huge, we just want to make sure that you're putting your effort to good use in other scholarship areas. So that's the scoop on scholarships. Tomorrow night, that email will go out. One other thing, and I'm glad I didn't forget. There are Purdue Alumni Association chapters in all 50 states, I think, and major cities. So if you log on to the Purdue Alumni Association website, I don't remember the exact link, but if you just Google Purdue Alumni Association, it'll take you there. And you can find your local Alumni Association club. Quite a few of those clubs hand out scholarships, again, in the form of $250, $500, I think, to students who are going to Purdue from their area. Your parents don't need to be alumni in most cases. You just need to be coming to Purdue. So if you would like to fill out one of those scholarship applications, I know for sure that the Chicago Club does, and quite a few others. So check that out as well when you're trying to make sense of that financial piece of the puzzle in terms of where you go to college. Teresa wants to know if you have to apply for a merit scholarship. You guys are all good to go. You applied before November 1st. You have a decision. So you all were in the running for our merit scholarship pool. Someone wanted to know when and how we'll be able to see the financial aid package after we got admitted. Great question. Full financial aid packages come out usually in early March. You'll get an email from us letting you know that it's been released, that your financial aid package is posted. If your academic college awards supplemental scholarships, and you'll know if they do because you would have filled that application out already, those supplemental scholarships, I think, are included in your financial aid package, if I'm not mistaken. So that could be one that comes out a little bit later, but full financial aid packages will roll out usually in early March, and then that gives you 2 full months to sit down at the kitchen table, lay out all of your offers of admission, all of your financial aid packages, and really decide what makes the most financial sense for you and your family in terms of where you go to college. Blake wants to know, he's a recipient of the 21st Century Scholarship. Am I eligible for any sort of waiver or non-refundable deposit that you have to pay for your $400 deposit? Good question, Blake. Yes, if you if you received the 21st Century Scholarship, if you needed that deposit waived, you can always give us a call. We can't guarantee it, but we'd be happy to have that discussion with you. So just give us a call and we can figure it out. Right now is kind of early. Honestly, I would wait a few months just to figure out if you do actually need that $400 waived. Then it's just attached to your tuition bill. I'm getting way off into the weeds here, but give us a call if you have trouble paying that $400 deposit, and we're happy to work with you. Next step, accept your offer of admission. Click that accept button, my friends. You have until May 1st, so no rush, no pressure. There's really, 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 truly no upside to accepting your offer of admission now versus on May 1st, except that it's one more thing to cross off your to-do list. So when you're ready, click accept, pay that $400 deposit, buy your Purdue gear, pack your bags, you're coming to West Lafayette. The next few steps, let's see, register for STAR, which is our summer transition advising and registration. Told you we have acronyms. That's the day that you come to campus to meet with your academic advisor. It's really kind of the paperwork behind moving into campus. So one day this summer, you'll come to campus. If you live abroad, if you live way far away, if you can't make it, there is a virtual STAR option, but we hope that you come to campus and meet your advisor. It's really the day where heading to college starts to feel real. So parents, prepare, students get excited. You leave kind of wide-eyed like, oh my gosh, it's happening. But it's a really fun day and really starts to kind of make things feel legit. You'll need to confirm the math placement requirement for your plan of study. All of the details on how to do that are on that guide. So I'm not going to get super into the weeds on that. Just watch our YouTube guide and it will get you all of the instructions. You also will need to register for Boiler Gold Rush, which is our orientation program. Allie in the chat wanted to know, what is Boiler Gold Rush week? Let me tell you, it's the best week of probably your entire life. Not too, I don't want to set the bar too high, but it's a pretty good one. It's our orientation program, and you move into campus an entire week early. It's not required. It's totally optional. There is an additional fee, but that takes care of all of your meals and everything for the week. And you spend an entire week kind of getting acclimated to life at Purdue. So you will learn to use the campus bus system that I mentioned. You will take a few they're not intro classes, but they just kind of expose you to what a class could be like at Purdue, so that on the first day of actual class, you don't walk in and go, whoa, what is this? You will take the bus to Meyer at midnight and play games and win prizes, and someone inevitably buys a futon and tries to fit it on the city bus and bring it back to campus. Don't be that guy. But there are just a million components to getting you ready for that social aspect of moving in, meeting new people, figuring out where you are, learning where your classes are, so that on the first day of school, you can worry about school rather than where your classes are, how you're going to meet new people, where you're going to eat lunch. All of those things we hope that you're kind of adjusted to by the time BGR is over. It's so much fun. So much fun. I think if you asked any Purdue student what they would want to relive during their 4 years, 85% would say BGR. The other 15 would probably say beating Ohio State in football this year, because that was fun too. But BGR is just the best. I can't talk enough about it. So register for that because you don't want to miss out on all the fun. Two things. You need to provide your final transcripts and official test scores to us. We need to verify that you got the grades you said you got, because it's pretty important. And we need to verify that you got the test scores that you said you received. So send those official score reports to us. If you know that you're coming to Purdue, send at least the score reports now. The transcript, obviously, we need to wait until you graduate. If you don't know that you're coming to Purdue, save the $10 to send your test scores until you've accepted your deposit and you know that you're coming. Someone wanted to know, McElroy wanted to know the process for new students getting testing accommodations. Our Disability Resource Center is wonderful. Make sure you reach out to them if you need any kind of accommodations. They would be more than happy to work with you and set things up. And that doesn't just go for testing accommodations. It also goes for students who have any kind of dietary restrictions. If you have celiac disease, they would be more than happy to sit down and meet with you and go over how to eat in the dining courts and make sure that you're all taken care of. So shout out to the Disability Resource Center. If you need anything taken care of, they're your go-to people. Someone else wanted to know if your second semester classes have changed. Where do we supply that information? You can upload that through your Purdue application portal. You can also send us an email at admissions@purdue.edu. Include your name and probably your date of birth, just so we make sure we get the right one, and we'll update your classes. As long as they don't impact your high school course requirements, 8 semesters of math and English, 6 of science and social studies, 3 or 4 of a foreign language, 3 is a random number to pick, you should be fine. But please make sure that you let us know if your classes have changed at all. We also hope that you watch fee statements at your purdue.edu email address. I talked to a girl earlier this week and she wanted to know why she wasn't receiving any emails to her Purdue email address just yet. We're still admitting students, so you don't have to check that email address every single day, but do keep an eye on it because fee statements will start to pop up. Official university correspondence will start to kind of filter in as we get closer to May 1st. And then, of course, once the summer starts, you'll start to get official emails from us. So make sure that you're checking that purdue.edu email address. You don't have to do it all the time, but again, just make sure that you are keeping in touch with us. So on to some more questions now that we've worked our way through the guide. A lot of students have been asking, what's the scoop on changing your major? Can you do it? You changed your mind since you filled out the application in August. Here's a scoop. Any student can request to change their major, but we can't guarantee that request will be granted. It depends on if you're competitive for the major and if we have space available in that program right now. If you want to fill out the application, if you want to fill out the request form to change your major right now, it's on your application portal. And I think the most important thing to say is that filling out that form retains your spot in your current major. So you're not filling it out and saying, hey, I'm in English right now, but I want to be in biology, and giving up that spot in your original program. You're holding on to that. And if we say, sorry, we don't have room in biology for you, you still maintain your spot. So you can fill it out kind of with confidence that it's not going to really throw a stick in the spoke if you are unable to be admitted to that program. If, however, we can't admit you to that program, you kind of have two questions that you need to answer. One, you could come to Purdue in the program that you're originally in. You could potentially CODO, another acronym, change of degree objective, really just change your major. You could CODO into your specific program. All of our CODO requirements are online. They're very transparent, but a CODO, again, is never guaranteed. So the question you have to ask yourself is, are you okay with coming to Purdue and graduating in that original program should you not be able to successfully CODO at any point? We hope, it's our goal, that you're in the major that you want to be in, but you just have to know that there's that little bit of risk that comes if you're coming to Purdue and not in the major that you really want to study. Another thing to keep in mind, if you change your major, you need to make sure that you didn't receive a scholarship, because our scholarships are awarded based on academic college. So if you receive a scholarship, you need to stay in your program for a full academic year. After that academic year, you can transfer to or CODO till your heart's desire, but we request that you stay in that major, or if you change your major, you'll forfeit your merit scholarship, which we hope that you don't want to do. I think that's all. I thought I had another. I think we're good on changing your major. So really what it boils down to when you're deciding where you want to go to school, if you're not in the program that you want to be in, fill out that change request. decisions, that was my other thing. Decisions for those will probably come out after March 15th once our regular decision round students are admitted. So you're going to have to sit tight for a little bit, but March 15th isn't that far away. We just want to make sure that we admit those regular decision students before we start to process those change requests. If we're unable to admit you to the program that you asked for, are you happy coming to Purdue, studying something else, and potentially graduating with that degree? If you're admitted to the new major that you want to study elsewhere, you might want to look at their program. So that's the scoop on changing your major. Someone, soccer player 89, if someone is given a merit scholarship and decides not to go to Purdue, is the scholarship awarded to another person? Great question. No. We kind of intentionally over extend scholarship offers, I guess is the best way to put it, so that we know that you guys have a million options on the table, and that some students who receive a scholarship are not going to come to Purdue. So we don't re-award. There won't be additional scholarship money later. We don't negotiate scholarship offers. What we email you on Friday is what we're going to offer you, period, hard stop, the end. So great question. But I know some schools will negotiate, and if a school that you're admitted to does that, that's awesome. But just know that you can call and talk to us. We just want to negotiate your scholarship offer. We'd be more than happy to chat. Let's see, more questions. Anusha wants to know what exploratory studies means and how you transfer into engineering. What was the last part of your question? Why did so many students get admitted into exploratory studies? That's a pretty popular program at Purdue. It's our undecided program. You get to stay there for up to 2 years before we make you pick a major, because your parents will be really mad at us if we let you graduate with a degree in exploratory studies. So you get 2 years there to take classes all across the board. You'll work with your incredible advisors who are pros at getting students through the CODO process. They'll help you kind of discern what programs you like, what programs you don't like. And then once you decide on a major, you can CODO into the program of your choice. Transferring into engineering, you go through the CODO process. All of those requirements are spelled out on their website. I don't have them memorized off the top of my head, but if you just Google Purdue engineering CODO requirements, it'll take you right to it. It's always, CODOs really boil down to the available space in a program. So things like engineering and nursing, computer science are pretty difficult for CODOs because they're very competitive for admission. And space is just pretty limited. So keep that in mind if your thought is to come to Purdue and then CODO into one of those more competitive programs. You might want to give us a call so we can have a more specific individual discussion, because again, the things that I'm answering tonight are speaking in generalities. Let's see. Emma, seen for the industrial design program, it's either co-ops or internships. Do students choose whether or not they do co-ops or internships, or does this depend on their schedule? Totally up to you. So the breakdown, kind of the quick overview of co-ops versus internships. Co-ops are available to some of our students in some of our programs. Primarily, our engineers participate in co-ops, but there are a few, I think, in the business school and maybe the computer science program. Co-ops are really an extended internship. So rather than every year you go to the career fair and you interview with a few companies and you have different internships at different places each summer, our co-op students choose between a 3 or 5 session co-op experience. Usually they willingly add a year on to their time to graduate. So they graduate in 5 years. They're still only paying 4 years tuition because they're still only taking classes for 4 years. But starting during their sophomore year, they start to alternate between taking classes on campus and then working full-time at one of our co-op companies. These are major companies all across the United States, Boeing, American Airlines. I don't know why the aviation companies are in my mind tonight, but those are just a few examples of companies where students can co-op. You'll work full-time there, getting paid like a full-time employee for a whole semester, and then you'll come back to campus and you'll take classes like a normal student, and you'll start to alternate that for either 3 or 5 sessions. Whether you choose to participate in a co-op or an internship is entirely up to you. They all have pros, they all have cons, and we can chat about that later. You can call us and we can connect you with the Office of Professional Practice so you can talk more about co-ops. It's not something you need to decide right this second. They are pretty good way to help fund your degree. Co-op students particularly get paid pretty well, and that can really help offset that cost, especially of out-of-state tuition. Our students who are getting internships, we hope are getting paid internships as well, and usually those pay very well as well. Lots of wells in there, but we just want to, I think that the co-op program is really neat and worth talking about and a great way to help fund your college experience. So that's the scoop, the very quick scoop on co-ops and internships. Someone in the chat wanted to know, there have been many questions about housing and res halls. Can you chat about the residence halls, pros and cons? And sweet Caitlin is going to post a link into the chat about our housing page. So I am going to tell you another Sarah Purdue story. I lived on campus for 2 years, and then I lived off campus for 2 years. And I wish with every ounce of my being that I would have stayed in the residence halls all 4 years. You don't realize until you're paying rent and cooking your own meals and cleaning your own bathroom that you have the rest of your life to do that. So you should take advantage of the 4 years where some of the basic life skills are taken care of, so you can focus a little bit more on being involved and studying and all of the things that you're really at college to do. I love university residences. All of our residence halls have pros and cons. So I lived in a almost brand new residence hall my freshman year. It cost quite a bit more than the residence hall, and it was a lot farther away from campus than some of the older kind of more traditional residence halls. So it was really nice that I had air conditioning, but sometimes, especially in the middle of winter, I wished that I was a couple more blocks closer to campus because that walk got pretty cold on some days. So they all have pros, they all have cons. I will probably remind you all in June or July when housing assignments come out not to fret. Please don't let where you live kind of consume you. I know it can feel like such a big deal, but you're really not in your residence hall room a whole awful lot. At least we hope not. We hope that you're at club meetings and in class and studying with your friends and going to football games, that where you live is kind of just a place to lay your head at night. And we hope that just doesn't it can become, at least for me, it was all consuming. All I cared about was that my residence hall had air conditioning. And in the long run, it really doesn't matter that much. So I know it feels like a huge deal, but don't let it consume you. I would strongly, strongly recommend living in the residence halls, because if you live off campus for a year, it's basically impossible to get back in the residence hall system, just because we have such a high demand that we want to make sure that students who haven't lived in the residence halls are getting that opportunity. Again, we guarantee it for all of our first year students. So it's difficult to get back once you say no thank you. 97% or so of our first year students live in the residence halls their first year. So the vast majority of our students live on campus. The number of students who return continues to go up every year. I think students just realize it's convenient and it's close. And like I said, someone's there to cook your meals for you. And there are programs that happen in the residence halls, and kind of a built-in community. You don't have to sit down and pay your bills every month. It's just, not that the residence halls are free. That probably came out wrong. But it's just, life is easy in the residence halls. That should be their slogan. So if you are even remotely interested, I'd encourage you to do that at least your freshman year. And then if you want to move off campus, have at it. There's plenty of off-campus housing, but it's just a really, really easy way to kind of make that transition to college a lot more smooth. You're not, moving out of your house, taking on all of these adult responsibilities all at once. It's kind of a nice baby step into adulting. Let's see. Johnny wants to know if engineering students can get a summer internship after your freshman year. How would you go about doing so? Absolutely. It depends on the company. There are some that will just explicitly say, no, we don't hire freshman students. But I had an internship. I also wasn't an engineer, but I had an internship the summer after my freshman year. And we encourage our students to go to their career fairs as early as possible, if for no other reason than just to get comfortable talking to an employer about yourself and kind of bragging on yourself. So we have over 30 career fairs, I think, every year. The College of Engineering hosts Industrial Roundtable, which is the nation's largest student-run career fair. They have, I can't remember the number. I don't know why that just escaped me, you guys. You're making me nervous. But they have literally hundreds of employers who come to campus for a week to recruit students for jobs and internships. So that's a great place to go. Like I said, just to make connections. We hope that you get an internship. We encourage you to apply for them. It's really up to the companies themselves, but we would love for you to at least put your foot out there, because you don't know until you try. Lots of students want to know about double majoring. Here's the scoop. That's totally beyond the Office of Admissions. That's a discussion for you to have with your academic advisor. I strongly encourage you to get to know your academic advisor very well. I highly doubt mine's watching, but her name's Sharon, and I love her dearly. We still get lunch every now and then. They can really become an incredible advocate for you on campus. They're wonderful people when it comes to just navigating a large university and letting you know kind of the ins and outs of how to do things. If you ever have questions, they're a really good person to just kind of fall back on once you're a student at Purdue. Anyway, to double major, you just need to chat with your academic advisor. It's, in a nutshell, double majoring is easier to do if you bring in AP credit or dual credit, or if you're double majoring in the same academic college. Because all of our colleges have different core curriculum, it might be more difficult to add on a double major if you're in the College of Liberal Arts and you want to double major in, I don't know, the College of Agriculture. You're going to have to take all of the agriculture core curriculum and all of the College of Liberal Arts core curriculum. So you're really literally doing 4 years or 8 years worth of studying in 4 years. However, if you're double majoring within the same academic college, all of those core classes are already the same. So you kind of cut out a lot of those double classes that you'll need to take. That's not to say it can't be done. We know plenty of students who double major, but that's just generally the kind of rule of thumb that I share with families. It's a little bit easier to do if you're doing it within the same academic college. Again, just talk to your academic advisor. Let them know. The sooner you can tell them that that's what you want to do, the easier your life is going to be, and the easier it's going to be to do that. Please don't wait until your junior year and be like, oh yeah, I think I'm going to add on a double major outside of my academic college. I want to be at Purdue forever. We don't want you at Purdue forever. We want you to graduate in 4 years and go out into the world and make it a better place. So talk early and often about both double majoring and studying abroad. That's another one of those conversations to have with your academic advisors sooner than later, just to make sure that you're getting all of the things done that you need to do, because we want you to have these really cool experiences like double majoring and studying abroad. But again, we also want you to graduate in 4 years. So have those conversations with your advisors and they will take great care of you. Honors college questions. It looks like there were a couple. Hannah, Michaela, Emily all wanted to know when those honors college decisions will be released. They are coming out in mid-February. Early March, February to March. I can't remember for the life of me. I know I just saw it on the family Facebook group. Mindy from the Honors College posted there just yesterday about when those decisions would be released, mid-February to early March. So you've got a few more weeks. Honors College decisions, again, totally separate from merit scholarship, just like scholarships were totally separate from admission. So those will all be 3 separate emails, 3 separate things to find. So those are all of our survey questions. I'm going to close those out a little bit. We have a few more minutes if I can expand this. There's my chat. Hello, friends. We'll make sure that we get most of your questions done. We've got a few more. We'll wrap it up here in about, oh gosh, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. Get everyone out before 7, 8 o'clock, and depending on where you are. And let's see here. I forgot, I missed your name, but someone wanted to know if you have to live in the residence halls for the Summer Start program. Yes, you do. Summer Start's such a cool experience. I love that program, but you are required to live on campus. So if you have questions about that, you can always contact their office. I believe their website is purdue.edu/thinksummer or purdue.edu/summerstart, or maybe both, but you can contact them if you have any questions about that. Todd wants to know what time the email about merit scholarships will go out. Oh my gosh, so specific. Probably around 5 o'clock. We don't have a specific set time, and some students might receive it a few minutes before, but it's safe to say if by, midnight tomorrow you don't have an email, your student didn't receive a scholarship, but around the close of business tomorrow. Ariana wants to know if there are shuttles to the nearest airport. There sure are. There are shuttles that run from Indianapolis multiple times a day. There are shuttles that run from O'Hare as well in Chicago. So yeah, if you're visiting campus, it's a wonderful time to kind of test out the shuttles, especially if, you're kind of worried about using a shuttle system that's new to you. Definitely use those shuttles. Admitted students who are coming to visit are more than welcome to use it, just like our regular students. Staff in the Office of Admissions will use them even when we're going on recruitment trips. So highly recommended. We love those shuttles. Someone wanted to know about AP credit. Oh, shoot, we didn't. Good thing we've got some more time left. If you have AP credit, our AP credit chart is on our website underneath transferring information, I think. We just redid our website. So the path that's ingrained into my brain is now gone, but it is listed on our website. Again, if you just Google Purdue AP credit, it will be the first link that pops up, and it will show you the score that you need on the AP exam to get credit in a specific Purdue class. Then what you can do is take the class that you got and compare it to your plan of study, which you can find at purdue.edu/majors, and see what classes you can kind of cross out with AP credit, just to get a general idea of what it might look like to transfer in that AP credit. And then please send us your scores so that we can actually award you that credit. You can do that sometime, ideally before your start day, but it's not required. Just sometime between now and, the start of classes. But the shuttle is not free. I don't know if I alluded to that and made it seem that way, but the shuttle is certainly not free. You do need to pay for it. So you'll have to, there are a couple companies that offer those. I know Lafayette Limo is one. I think there's one called Reindeer Shuttle. You have to get on their websites to check all of the information and ticketing information. Let's see. There was one. Mitch and Susan want to know if students are assigned a specific academic advisor. That depends on your major. In both of my majors, yes, I was in two. I changed my major after my freshman year. I was assigned a specific academic advisor. In some majors, it's more of a walk-in, who's available, who are you comfortable with kind of situation. So it just depends on the major and the program that you're in and how many advisors they have, and quite a few different things. Let me see. There was one question. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I missed it. Oh, I found it. Erin Marie wanted to know if the dining halls and residence halls are open over fall break, Thanksgiving, and Easter. I know that they're open during fall break. I think they stay open during Thanksgiving, and I'm pretty sure they're open during Easter. I'm 99% sure they just close over the holiday break. The fun thing, though, is that, and what I found to be pretty common, is that our students from farther away areas, whether they're international students or they're just from, the East Coast or the West Coast or, Michigan, wherever, a lot of our more local students will invite their friends over, or they'll plan a fun trip, or they'll do something fun during those different shorter breaks, so that you're not, paying to fly home for Thanksgiving and then literally 2 weeks later paying to fly home for the full holiday break. So I think the residence halls are open. I'm nearly sure of it. But then our students also are pretty, like I said, that Midwestern niceness is a thing. And our students are pretty welcoming in terms of inviting their friends from farther away areas to come home with them for breaks, which is pretty neat. Let's see. Do we have any more questions? You guys are just, my folks are in like the control room are killing it. So shout out to all of them, Fernando, Megan, Dan, Christine, Caitlin. Thank you so much for answering all of the questions in the chat box. I think we're going to wind it up, you guys. It's been such a pleasure chatting with all of you. Like I said, if you have questions that didn't get answered, if you have very specific questions that were not answered by my incredibly general responses, that's why we get paid in the Office of Admissions. So please call us, send us an email, admissions@purdue.edu. You can DM us on Instagram or on Twitter. I will probably be the shining face behind the block P emoji responding to you. You can write us on Facebook. You can ask questions in the admitted student page or on the admitted family page. We're more than happy to answer questions there. Really anywhere you want to get in touch with us. We've never had anybody send us a carrier pigeon, but you can do that if you want, and we'll try our best to get back in touch. We just want to make sure, we know that you guys have a ton of questions right now. We know that it can feel incredibly overwhelming, and we want to help walk you through all of the next steps so that this whole college admissions process is happy and pleasant and not overwhelming and full of, a ton of enthusiasm and excitement for the next chapter of your life. So our next guide is, it'll be out in a few weeks. So we're talking about paying for Purdue. So scholarships, financial aid, really the nuts and bolts behind that financial aid package will be discussed in our February guide and then our live Q&A. Again, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel so that we can notify you when those guides and live Q&As are scheduled. You don't want to miss that one because paying for Purdue is a big part of that college decision on where you go. If you have an idea for a topic that you'd like to see, you can drop that in the comments on this video, either in the chat or in the comments once we close it down. Again, thank you so much. Boiler up. Hail Purdue, and I will see a lot of you soon. Thanks again, guys. Bye-bye.